My name's host Eric. I'm live streaming again because I don't believe I'm going to be able to sleep right now. If I were to try to go to sleep, I don't think it sleeps in the cards for me tonight. So I'm not especially enthusiastic about doing anything. What sounds most engaging to me is streaming. So here I am. I'm streaming right now. I stream, you stream, we all stream for live stream. If you love buildings, if you love slow, casual conversation about nothing, you're going to absolutely adore this live stream. I have got so little prepared for you tonight, and you're going to be absolutely amazed by everything that comes out of my mouth as usual. You're going to hear wisdoms. You're going to hear insights. You're going to hear winsights. You're going to hear wisdoms. You're going to learn about the ancient Aztec people and their ways. You're going to learn to touch the tenderest parts within you until they jiggle in a most enticing and moist way. You're going to learn what it means to be part of Land, Wind, and Leather, a corporation that has got another 100 years in it at least. So, you may know me from such failed endeavors as my life and its ongoing fail fest 2021. But I'm not just all about the failure. Sometimes I'm in favor of success, like that one time I did that one thing that was successful. I used to be successful. Success is kind of overrated. I used to be successful, I guess more successful than I am now. We still have to put quotes around it, kind of. Well, not really. I guess professionally, I was an unqualified kind of successful, but, it's different than trying to achieve fame and notoriety in the important business of YouTubing. It's a taller mountain to climb in some sense, and yet a smaller one in some other sense. Oh, the ways of the Tao, constantly delighting me with their ambiguities. I think what I'm going to do, to make sure I'm in full chill mode here while rocking this stream, I think I'm going to take half a clommy and that may be the sort of thing that makes me go, hey, don't I feel swell? It might just do that. It seems appropriate, given the circumstances. Especially since there's not anybody here, nobody saying anything, nobody paying any attention to me. I better settle in, so to speak, Don't mind me, I'm just getting a cup of coffee. Refreshing my coffee. Oh yeah, sure, I should have done this before starting this stream, of course, but that would require extroverted thinking. The most terrible function of all. Extroverted thinking, the most terrible function of all. Well, look who's back. It's me, Eric. I'm here by myself, I'm chatting. The pictures cycling in the background in a most delightful and engaging way. Boy, the pictures, these buildings are loving me right now. As is that guy in the statue, this guy. Oh, he's gone. This guy too. This flag holding guy, he is just adoring the kind of attention he's getting that he's not used to getting, really, you know? This guy, the guy who's responsible for Just Bells, the store that's just bells. All bells, nothing but bells, just bells. It's the kind of store that you want to take your whole family to. Who wouldn't enjoy a trip to Just Bells? It's right across the street from my strange strip club, Just Balls, in which all the men are fully clothed except for having their balls revealed. And you can't order any drinks there. There's no food. There are no chairs. Just balls. Now, Just Balls delivers what it promises, right? But let me tell you a little bit about a business that may be a little bit deceptive. Namely, my newest endeavor, Fajot Buffet. Fajot Buffet, well, people who don't understand how to pronounce things correctly might think the name of this brand is it rhymes with Baggett Buffet, and this is how it's spelled, you know. FAGGOTBUFFET. But really, it's a high-end couture brand of handbags and women's shoes. Of course, when you go to one of their stores in the mall or something, you will see plenty of gay men peeking their head in and going, "Oh, I was really hoping for something else." That's just because they didn't understand they were at Fajot Buffet. So, you know, that business might get a little bit in trouble for the name, you know, because it does have what many consider to be a slur in it. It's just because they're pronouncing it the American way instead of the European way. If they pronounced it in the European way, they wouldn't have a problem with it. Fajot Buffet. So I moved my car in to the driveway. Gotta remember to just breathe like Just Bells guys here. It's Just Bells. That's all we sell is Just Bells. What do they sell? The Land Whirlin' Leather Company? Whatever they feel like. Whatever's moving. Whatever kind of product's moving, you know. Whether it's plastic toys from China or plastic toys from China. Either way, that's what they're selling. So this is kind of like Host Eric's bedtime stories a little bit. In the sense that I'm operating without a chat. When there's nobody chatting or saying anything, obviously, I have to operate in a vacuum. And that vacuum is called myself chatting about nothing. But fortunately, it's one of my skills. I'm not afraid to talk to myself about nothing. A lot of times I'll have conversations with myself, make jokes with myself, amuse myself, just thinking sometimes out loud. Amusing myself with thoughts of risible humors, jokings, hilarities, and so forth. Sometimes things make me laugh. Oh. Sometimes strange things make me laugh. Sometimes regular things make me laugh. It depends. Sometimes shows make me laugh, you know. Delilah was saying how her boyfriend Elliot feels as though he's less likely to laugh at funny stuff if it's in subtitles than in dubbed, I guess. I don't feel that way. Subtitles often make me laugh. Thing is, one part of being bipolar, I guess, is I'm not necessarily particularly considerate of Rachel's experience. Like, I know sometimes I've got it going too fast for her to read all the words before it moves on, especially if it's a fairly fast-paced show. I tend to pace it like I want it paced. Sometimes I get really jumpy when I'm watching shit. Like, I keep clicking the 10 seconds ahead button. And I'm just trying to sort of move through the plot. This is with the K-dramas. The K-dramas kind of stretch their juiciness out beyond its native juice. I'm talking about your Korean Odyssey. I'm talking about your, what's that, K2. I'm talking about your Squid Games. All of that one's pretty lean. That's a pretty lean one right there. Often do I think of the things I could be doing that would be more successful than what I'm doing, or that I could be successful at if I devoted myself to them. Sometimes I feel jealous of other people's success in similar areas. These are some of my problems that I have. Just wanted to share with you. Let me go get my coffee. Just wanted to share with nobody who's here. You know. Because listen, here's the reality. Whether you're here or not, you're here. In my mind, you are. You're here, you're queer, you don't want any more bears, and that's okay with me. Boy, Cameron's got some great bear footage. He's got bears galore at his house in San Madre, or his girlfriend's house anyway. Like big ass bears. He's got some really good, like up close footage of them too. Right here in Los Angeles, who'd think, right? You think there aren't any bears in Los Angeles? Yeah, there are. There are definitely bears in Los Angeles. It's like non-stop bear attack around here. It's like everywhere you look, you run into a bear. There definitely are a lot of bears in the mountains. And why? Why are there so many bears in the mountains? Because everybody's all enlightened, you know? Nobody wants to go shoot bears anymore. Nobody wants to go bear hunting. So there's an excess of bears. And there's no predators for bears except for us. And then it's like Cameron has this BB gun that he shoots them with to make them go away. He offered to let his girlfriend's neighbor borrow it. And his girlfriend's neighbor's like, oh, I don't know. I'm not really comfortable with guns. I have a baby in the house, and you know it's a pump action Red Ryder BB gun. And Cameron said to me, I don't think he said this to the guy, but he said this to me. He's like, this guy is comfortable having his 2-year-old or whatever. The only protection between him and a bear is a screen door, but he's uncomfortable having a BB gun to scare it away. Like, what kind of crazy nut is this? What kind of crazy world is this, you know? And he's not trying to hurt the bears. He's just trying to shoot them with a BB to make them go away, you know? He says that when he yells at them, they actually charge towards him and he has to go inside to get away from them. His point is, it's more compassionate to keep them away than have to euthanize them after they cause some sort of specific problem. I would tend to agree with that, you know. I like that picture of that red building. It's very red. As red as the blood of a red-blooded American. As red as the skin of a Native American. Just kidding. Apparently that's racist. That's what they tell me. That's why they're the Washington football team. So it just goes to show you, hi Jack Powers, just goes to show you what happens when you go away for a week and or people just, it's like, why bother? Why bother listening to Eric anymore? He said all he could possibly say. We've heard his voice plenty. Jack Powers hasn't. Jack Powers knows he's Jack Powers. He needs to garner all the wisdoms, insights, and magically powerful words that come forth from my mouth whenever I stream. And he's here to accumulate those valuable goods and stash them away in his item box. That's what he calls his girlfriend's vagina. It's my item box. Where I put my item. Which item are you talking about? Shh, it's my penis. That's the item I'm talking about. So today I had some pretty good steak. Cooked a little medium well. A little well, maybe. A little well-did-y well. If medium well is one step above well-did-y well is one step above. Medium well is one step below well. Well-did-y well is one step above well done. These were jerky-style steaks, really cooked to death. And the reason is, I'm using this really tricky charcoal. My dad got a bunch of at the stores on sale. It's called Prime Fancy Charcoal. But I was reading the box today and I realized it suggests you light and put it out and relight and put it out. You can use it up to 7 times, it says. Well, that's just not how I roll with making charcoal fires. So I always end up mixing it with regular briquettes to get it nice and hot so it all catches. And otherwise, if you just light it a little bit, it won't light. And then you're stuck with charcoal that's not making a hot fire. And then how are you going to cook on it, right? So, needless to say, it's a compromise, like a lot of things in life. Like a lot of things, you have to compromise. What do I want? I want the best of both worlds, so I mix regular briquettes and those things. Ideally, matchlight briquettes. I never buy charcoal lighter fluid. I just use my torch to light the charcoal. Which torch is that, Eric? Why, my propane torch, of course. There's a fly in here that I'd like to burn to death with my propane torch. It's flying around. Sometimes you can get them. You can catch them in the air if they come near you enough. You get this satisfying little spark. I always try to make sure I got them all the way dead, though. I don't want them to suffer unnecessarily, even though they're flies. And flies are terrible. Of all of nature's creatures, flies are the worst. Well, mosquitoes are worse, I guess, than flies. But flies aren't far behind. If you like flies, you're wrong. You're wrong to like flies. You'd be wise to dislike flies instead. Be wise, dislike flies is a public service announcement I want to make. Hi, Vane and Moynihan. I'm fine. How are you? I'm just talking to myself right now. Well, now I'm talking to you, but prior to this, I've been primarily talking to myself. Briefly talked to Jack Powers. Just sort of carrying on, you might say. Carrying forward might be another expression. Going forward, moving forward. Rolling thunder, you might say. I'm rolling thunder. How are you doing? Naturally, as always, I'm continuing my ongoing search for paranormality. Walked outside to go move my car into the driveway. I spent some time just staring up at the moon, hoping to see an alien craft or something. Nothing. Just a regular old moon. This continues to be a problem for me. I seem to be able to have a unique ability to identify flying objects. I'm trying to get a baseline frequency of identified flying objects among total flying objects, but since I can't get any unidentified ones, it's really hard to figure out what the ratio is. Just the other day, in one sky glance, I identified 3 distinct planes. Your bathroom light keeps switching on during the night. We have one of those too. We got a light that when it's on, it goes on and off randomly. When it's off, it stays off. That counts as what you just basically call abnormality. It's abnormal, but not paranormal. It has to go to the Ab Olympics. They got the regular Olympics, the Ab Olympics, and the Paralympics. We're trying for something that qualifies for the Paralympics. That's going to mean your ghost, your Sasquatch. Could mean your thin man, your tall man, your Loca, your other native spirits of some sort. Could be an alien. Could be a sea monster. Anything like that. Could be one dead fly. So it could be. I think I got him. How do you still live? How do you still live? I think I got him that time, though. No, he's over there. On the fucking TV. That guy. Sweet. You were watching the stream from earlier, pretending you were there, and now your prayers have been answered. Well, this stream's a lot better, too. That stream, I was just getting started. Now, you're getting me, and I'm rolling on all cylinders. It's nothing but glory, majesty, and regality pouring from my 2 lips. Pow, pow, pow. Regal, pow. Glory, pow. Majesty. And so, truly, having these words of wisdom bestowed upon you, you are one very fly guy. It's true. You've attained flyhood. Flyness. Flyery. You've been flyified. The flyification process is complete. In the morning, you can also be fly if you'd like. Or you can be fresh. One of the two. But not both. I'm fresh and fly. But it's really hard, you know. It takes years of practice to be that cool. I'm fresh, exciting. So exciting and new. Are you convinced by that? It's a quote from a song, but that's not the melody of it. I can't really remember the melody of it. But I think that's basically the rhythm of it. Perhaps it is Boys to Men. But I don't really know. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't it? That would really be something. If you're somebody who says that would really be something, you're not really saying much. No, it's just somebody who says that would really be something. Now that's really saying something. What is it saying? Typically. Something. And that says a lot. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying, that's all. And you know, really, that says a lot. My friend calls these non-answers and he hates them. Did you really ask a question? Are you a sensible 4-cylinder or a world-killing 8-cylinder? I don't know. I'd have to ask a mechanic. Was that a Christopher Walken imitation? No, not on purpose. Perhaps it sounded a little bit like him. I could try to imitate Christopher Walken. It's something like I've never really tried, you know. So I don't have a Christopher Walken imitation prepared for you. But you know, you can say something like, "That's spectacular." Something like that. I don't know. I can't quite do it. Listen, guys. It's spectacular. I don't know, he's got a weird accent, right? It's a very distinct accent. Am I an ostentatious 12-cylinder or a zippy 6-cylinder? 6, I guess. Is this a new personality test? How many cylinders are you? Beam you in the stream? You want to come on and chat with me or something? Okay. Let me get a window, meow, meow, meow. And let me put a thing here, meow, meow, meow. I'll put a thing, you be a ding. Bling a bling a bling a bling a wing. Okay, so there I got a thing called a window. Sometimes called a tab. Sometimes called a wing wang. Sometimes called a miggity meow. Sometimes called Eric's having problems fixing things because he's dumb. Okay, fine. I hear you. I hear you. I want you to know that you are heard. Okay? You are heard and understood. You are the wind beneath my... Yeah. Okay, join me there. Okay, Taylor, I'm in autonomy right now. You're welcome to join. Bring the majesty. Bring the thunder, as they say. OMW. Oh my wad. Let the ESTP cuck me? No. I'm not interested. Yeah, I know what it means. I'm not interested in sharing my woman in any sense of the word. That's an unacceptable reality for me. I'm rather the jealous type, you might say. You might even say, I'm jealous AF. And in case you don't know, that stands for as fudge. And in case you don't know, that's short for as fuck. In case you don't know, I'm a Coke guy. I like Coca-Cola a lot. I'd never seen it before, my duck. I had to figure it out. I was able to figure it out, but I didn't know. In the first second, I actually didn't know what it meant. I'd not seen it before. Hi, Taylor. How's it going? Do you hear what I hear? Yeah, A miggity old meow and a meow 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 miggy meow. Meow 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 me meow meow. Merry Christmas, everyone. If, like me, you have within you the spirit of Christmas in your heart all year round, then you'll want to use Santa Floss, the only dental floss used by Santa 365 days a year, because it's always Christmas between your teeth. That's my new ad campaign for Santa Floss, my new product that I want to sell. It's dental floss, but the package has a picture of Santa on it, so it makes it special. So it makes it deserving of its own name. You know we can't hear you, right, Taylor? Because you're muted. You're muted like a mofo in a muting party.
I meant to do that.
Oh. Now I can hear you. So, yeah.
I was just trying to take in that song. That was beautiful.
Thank you. I don't know what song. I don't remember it, but
the one with the meows.
The Christmas meows. Right? Yeah, that was a. Well, it's getting near Christmas time. You know, it's getting near the time when all good men should start singing Christmas carols continually, while, handing out mistletoe at the local driving range.
You always know it's Christmas when Walmart starts putting that shit out in like September.
Yeah, we went. Where did we go? We went someplace just the other day, and it had Thanksgiving stuff up and Christmas stuff up right next to it. Like, pick a holiday, you know.
Well, they're running out of food and toilet paper, so they gotta fill the aisles with something.
They're running out of food and toilet paper?
That's what I keep hearing.
Well, I guess.
We're out of Uncrustables the other day, which is a bummer, because Uncrustables, for some reason, are way better than regular peanut butter and jellies.
Uncrustables have the advantage of being nature's most convenient food.
That is true.
And that counts for a lot, I'd say.
And they're pretty good when they're, like, kind of frozen, but not all the way frozen, because it's like a peanut butter jelly ice cream sandwich.
Yeah, well, for me, I often eat them while they're still frozen because I'm just trying to cram some nutrients. Because your body needs a lot of nutrients. I don't know if you know that. I don't think that
Uncrustables really have nutrients.
Well, they've got calories at least. You know, when you're like not really eating very much, and you should be, and you'd like to eat more, but you're not feeling like cooking anything. Uncrustables are where it's at. So, my doc says it's true. My grocery store sent out notes to schools saying there will be low stocks of milk, etc. Feels like communism is slowly coming. A nation goes out in a limbo. Well,
you know what? It should work this time. Because we're that hubristic. We got this.
Yeah. I'm a little frustrated as well with the state of affairs in the country. I try not to make large alarmist sounding statements, but I too get concerned. And I don't remember who I was thinking about the other day, and I was just going like, God, those fucking commies. Like, it's not a word I find myself using very often as a derogative term to, like, say, these people are bad, but, some...
Well, did you see the nomination for the comptroller of the currency?
No.
She grew up, she's literally a Russian commie who went to, what was the college called? It was,
was like the Leninist school of communist business or some shit like that. It was just like you couldn't make up a character who's more communist than this woman.
Well, I mean, the thing is, the country seems very obviously ideologically divided and prone to embracing things that are wedgy, you know?
Yeah. Well, the media keeps throwing these stories out, like, look, here's some race bait, and everybody's like, the race bait, and then they go chasing after it.
Yeah, well, I don't really know all the details of it well enough to necessarily have a strong opinion about it. But overall, I was pleased by the outcome of that case that everybody was talking about. I think they came to the correct outcome.
And I didn't watch it sort of on principle, but I am pleased as well. I mean, it was just so clear-cut self-defense. It's unbelievable.
Right. But, I mean, the thing is, what's more important is there needs to be a takeaway from this thing that says if people are out and about actively violating other people's rights, they should well expect that their own rights are not going to be subject to the same kind of protections that law-abiding people's rights are. Such that if you are out someplace rioting and destroying people's property, you can't expect your rights to be respected because you're not respecting the other person's rights.
When they got shot, they were doing worse than destroying property.
No, I understand that. But my point is, and I'm not saying necessarily it's okay to shoot somebody who's destroying property, but if I'm in my house, let's say, just a hypothetical is not really that closely linked to this actual case, but if I'm in my house and rioters are coming to like break down my house or whatever with sledgehammers and shit and break my windows, I think that's a sufficient amount of aggression towards me and my home and my family.
Use a sledgehammer to break a window?
Well, you know, they're trying to do damage. Maybe like throwing Molotov cocktails or whatever. To me, like that's enough justification to shoot at them because they're clearly, you know, attacking me, my family, my home, you know.
I mean, I think if anybody's responsible for this, it's the cops that didn't do any bit of their job.
Right. I mean, I think it was a general malaise towards the lawlessness of these certain kinds of protest riots, you know, and because there was a general sense of, well, there's lots of good cause to complain, which there is and has been for a long time. You know, cops get away with all kinds of crazy shit. I don't need to tell you about that. In an earlier stream, in fact, I played Under Sheriff Barrett. He's a perjurer. He's a perjurer. He likes to perjure himself. Tracy Beverland is colluding with him. Guess that's why he's not arrested him again, or whatever it says. So it's like, I feel you about the cops not doing their job. Hi, Edmund. What's going on? Long time no talk to you. Are you rocking? Are you rolling? Are you way out of controlling? Because that's what I hear. I hear you doing all three.
That's what I heard too.
Are you going to debate camp? Because you know what goes down in debate camp. What happens in debate camp stays in debate camp. Yeah. It's one of the few kinds of camps like that. See, most of those kind of camp things are going to be like sports related. They're probably going to be not co-ed. One of the few kinds of camps that happens is that works out kind of super in favor of the kids getting away with whatever is debate camp. Because first of all, there are all these smart debater kids, right? So they're not up to anything. They've got to go spend time in each other's rooms because they're prepping and stuff, you know. And
I bet they never shut the fuck up while they're doing stuff either.
I'm not actually coaching anybody right now at the moment. I'm being pretty lazy. I'm just kind of chilling.
It's the way to be.
Do you still debate, Edmund? Or you must be in college. Which Edmund are you? You're big Edmund, right? Edmund and Connie Edmund? Or are you little Edmund? Oh, you're little Edmund, right? Oh, okay. You got it. Oh, you're a senior. Do you still debate? Hi, Winston's mom. I'm sorry to hear that, Edmund. You were... Like, when I talk about my best debaters ever, I always include you on that list, you know? I've got this fairly short list of my best debaters ever.
It is pretty glorious.
Aster Wong. What's up? 3 eggplants. Well... 3 eggplants, I guess. Yeah, it looks like a lightning bolt, Taylor.
That's 3 dicks coming at you. Slap, slap, slap.
Oh. Is your beard supposed to look like a lightning bolt? You should wear a white shirt so you can see it better.
You're right, I should. It just grew in that way. I've got good beard balance, so I decided to let it go indefinitely. And
that is good beard balance, yeah.
Katie wants me to shave it, and she has for a while, but you know what? She's in charge of her own beard.
Yeah, Katie's not going to get what she FI wants, it sounds like. Fly Guy says eggplants water? Eggplants squirt water? Eggplants cry? I don't get it. I'm confused. Don't tell me you're being bawdy in your humor. I hope you're not referencing adult themes. This is a family show. Edmund understands. He knows it's a family show. So what are you going to do, Edmund? Something boring like go to college? Yeah, I'm going to go to college. I'm going to study math. And then I'm going to... What's your deal? You got anything more interesting to tell me than that, or are you just gonna just follow the program? Yeah, I'm gonna go to college. I'm Edmund. Eliana D is here. Did people at school tease you by calling you Eliana D? Ellie wants some D. If I were in your school and I were bullying you, that's what I would have teased you with. Cardi B should win what? Cardi B sounds like some kind of like bullshit holistic drug for your heart. With wartworm and ginkgo, your heart will never be happier when you take Cardi B. My mama. Hold on there a second, Eliana D. Are you talking to me about my mother? So let's talk about the real news. BTS should win Artist of the Year. The AMAs. Artist of the Year. More like Fartist of the Year.
Yeah.
Biao. Your nickname is Ewy? 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 You can't lower your IQ. Yes, you can. It's called brain injury, though I don't recommend it, man. But it's true that you can lower what your intelligence quotient is by taking a big beam into your head. Smart people say more with less. I'd say communicatively effective people say more with less. I'm not sure that really correlates with smart very well. But, that's because people mean different things when they say the word smart. There's your TE kind of smart, like, hey, look at me, I'm getting lots of outcomes. There's your TI kind of smart, like, hey, look at me, I'm not being wrong. TI is not wrong, whereas TE wants to be right, So TE is much more looking for an affirmation, which means it's going to make a lot of statements that don't necessarily withstand TI scrutiny, because the priority there is to be right about something in order to come up with the right solution or right angle on something. Whereas TI, the goal is to avoid being wrong. So we're going to be less bold in our claim making and therefore be guilty of less bullshit, I sent you an email about my partner who wants to be on your show. Okay. My partner. Is your partner also your pardner with a D? If not, why not? Pseudo-smart are people who have only superficial knowledge of certain topics and just want to show off.
You said partner, so I'm guessing it may not be a D sort of situation.
So what you're saying is Olanawana V.
that is in fact what I was saying. I didn't realize it at the time, but I was definitely saying that is a possibility that everybody should entertain.
It makes sense. I was thinking earlier today that all of your holes come in two. Eye holes, ear holes. Right? And this is proof that butt sex is dirty. Because there should therefore only be two good holes for that as well. And that leaves out.
I think that you drew the wrong conclusion from this. I think that what it's telling you is that is the second hole.
No. There's the top hole and the front hole, not the back hole. Okay. Well, see, that's my point, Fly Guy. Only two of the holes are meant for incoming freight. Now, men only have one hole for incoming freight. That's true. And the other hole is just for outgoing freight. But that's because that's carried over from the fact that we only have one X chromosome and one Y chromosome. So we only get one incoming hole. It's God's will.
I never heard that, but this makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm. God's will. This is 100% gospel truth. It's written on page 46 of the Bible. And thus spaketh God. Because you only have one X chromosome. And the X chromosome represents holes that things go in to. You can only have one hole in which things go into.
It's the bullseye. X marks the spot.
Fly Guy, I am not reading that. It's horrible. That's an SI nightmare.
Winston's mom, I don't remember who it was, but it says right at the beginning of the thing, of the video, it says his name on screen.
Fly Guy, come on. That really makes me SI meow. I'm going to remove it. I don't like to SI meow. You can ignore SI maybe, but I'm not so much. Ugh. Yeah, that's me. That's my bad. I meant to. Well, I could put on headphones, but headphones are uncomfortable. I keep meaning to mute my mic when he talks, but I didn't say as much as me, so it's hard to remember. You know how that goes. I could just mute him and just have him picked up kind of faintly on the mic. Let me do it that way. I'll turn this a bit towards, so split the difference between him and me. I'll turn the TV.
You don't hear me.
Your comfort is the lowest priority.
Here, I think.
Alright, now you should be able to hear him fine, like he's in the room with me, basically.
Can I show you how to use Streamlab or StreamYard sometime? It's so simple, you wouldn't believe it.
I mean, I like streaming like this. I'm accustomed to streaming like this. This is simple, too.
It's not. I bet it's not.
Why do you bet it's not?
Because what I think happened is you started streaming the way that you learned, and then when you wanted to add people in, you just added more things on top of what you were already doing until you configured together a Frankenstein stream.
Is that what this is, a Frankenstein stream?
Hmm?
Is that what this is, a Frankenstein stream? What makes it a Frankenstein stream?
Because we're in separate. You've got two things open. I'm in Werribee. You drug the screen into the stream instead of us both being in the stream.
Oh, well, it's true that I don't have a...
TE.
No, that I don't have a built-in video conference that goes along with the stream. That's true. But, I mean, I don't really feel like that's... I could do that with Google Meet. I wasn't really anticipating doing it like this, you know, like having, I didn't anticipate when I started it that I was going to have anybody else to talk to. Ridley Scott, Ellen Ripley, same thing, Fly Guy. Same thing. So, what's going on in your life, Taylor? Anything exciting?
You know, I don't know. Not really, same shit mostly.
You know, I don't know is a good answer to that question.
I mean, there is stuff going on, but there's nothing like, you know, it's like, yeah, things are going on. I'm stirring up, I'm being a rabble rouser. I'm stirring up a parents' rebellion against the school because they're doing their bullshit. You know, just another day in the life, though, really.
Taylor's an ESTP. Are we all abstaining from the sin of fornication? Depending on how you define it, yes, I am. Now, here's the thing. I do want to clarify a new term that I determined is necessitated by the English language's lack heretofore of this term, which is, it's a varget. So if you define a virgin as somebody who's touched for the very first time, a varget is somebody who's touched for the very last time. So after you take a vow of celibacy, after you've had sex, you become a varget. Now, if you then resume having sex again, then you become a fallen varget, or a befouled one.
I thought you were saying vargin, like bargain, like you put bargain on the end of it.
No, it's a varget.
It's like an ugly virgin, so she's in the bargain bin.
No, a varget. A varget is somebody who's been touched for the very last time. Since all definitions of virgin must be reference the Madonna lyric, touched for the very first time, then a varget would be defined as touched for the very last time. And if I were having Virgin Airways, if that were my airline, the tagline of it would be touched for the very first time.
So what were you doing where you needed to use this word?
I had no need to use it. I just thought there needs to be a word because virgin means something. It means touched for the very first time. Well, what does it mean if you're touched for the very last time is the obvious question that elicits. It means you either died right afterwards, or it just turned out you didn't get laid again after that, or you had a vow of celibacy. I figure the third is the most likely reason for somebody to call themselves a Vargot, because it's presuming that the last occasion of sexual intercourse has already occurred. But
That'd be a bummer.
incels who aren't virgins could call themselves Vargots as well if they wanted to lose some of the loaded language that's around their whiny self-concept.
Well, you can lose the loaded language, but they're still going to have loaded, whiny self-concepts.
Well, but it'll sound better for a little while until the term becomes synonymous with incel. That's something.
Like how we keep changing the word, that whatever we call people with mental disabilities, that keeps jumping around and changing.
Right. No matter what you call them, that becomes the new thing that has to be changed.
You gotta keep chasing around chase the word.
Somebody in linguistics deemed that the euphemism escalator. It just keeps going around and around and around like that. Where it's the same step, but it seems like a new step coming up from the bottom. It's been a while since that step. So it's like, special.
So people are going to circle back around to retarded, is what you're saying?
Yeah. Or I guess what they circle back around to. They circle back around to something like idiot, which was probably an original word that meant that, before it meant something different.
Lunatic.
Well, that was for crazy people.
Sort of politically?
That was for crazy people, but I think the word idiot probably originally meant somebody who was mentally retarded. Of course, then they got changed to developmentally delayed, which is just factually false. They're not delayed. That would imply they're going to catch up at some point, right?
Right.
It gets changed to, cognitively disabled or mentally disabled or something. Obviously the word special became like poisoned forever in some regard by the Special Olympics.
Yeah.
People want to keep changing and turn something more positive. Eventually they're going to call them extraordinary people or something. Then the word extraordinary will become a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, no amount of semantics is going to make that a pleasant situation.
Right. And the thing is, ultimately, people will sometimes insult one another. There's no way to avoid that occurring. And you don't even know my cognitive stack, my duck, says Eliana D. sassily. My duck's like, but. And then Eliana D's like, so don't be spreading your assumptions around. And my duck's like, I don't indeed. But then he throws in a lull to show that he's not bothered by Eliana D's sassy words. He's laughing at them. That's how he's amused and superior in his response. It's called FE play-by-play analysis. Yeah, no, I actually do shit in life, not ponder stuff. Ooh, censor. Bring out the sensory accomplishments. So smack down the intuitard. It just sits around.
I ate 2 Chipotle burritos once at the same time. Huh. I ate 3 once at the same time. I forgot about that. That was that for sensory feat. 3 Chipotle burritos.
I bet you ate them in rapid succession.
Well, I ordered 2 because I was like starving that day. And I got done with 2 and I wasn't about to die. And so I figured I'd better eat a 3rd one because because I knew I could do it then, and I knew that I probably wouldn't get the opportunity to be able to pull it off again. So I had a third one.
Good for you. It was a wise choice. Eliana
Carpet,
D. Listen, Eliana D. I want to commend you for your purpose in life. Eliana D. says, I love to give people a great time and experience. Very careful where you say that. If you say that in a personal ad, people will assume certain things, you know. I don't know if they still have personal ads or not. Probably not. That's a thing of the olden days. Now they've got adult friend finder.
I mean, I think Instagram probably does. I would guess. I've never gotten one.
This has been enlightening. Wow, Tanner Owens, what do you expect? I throw enlightenment bonus points at every listener and every stream. So if you came in...
You just leveled up twice.
Yeah.
Everybody got 2 enlightenments.
If you were like 50 points away, you're like 46 points away now, probably. You're getting that much closer.
All you gotta do is complete a few more missions and you guys will get enlightenment.
Me to read a whole book with a snarky voice. 7 years ago. That's a speech, Eric. That's not a book. Okay. How about, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times?
Is that Paradise Lost?
Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. That's a good idea, Tiny Man 66. When people ask me what my sign or type is, I'll just reply, your most compatible one, or your least compatible one, because why not? When people ask you what your type is, you should say, I'm gonna give you a sassy non-response. Are you okay with that? I would get dizzier first by a lot, even if I were the same age as Taylor. And I'm more prone to being like SE fussy than I used to be, but I would definitely get dizzier faster. If Taylor and I were both to stand up and spin around, I don't think he'd get dizzy very fast. It would start to make me feel meh, like right away.
Oh yeah, I can. If I weren't crammed in the corner and on carpet, I'd probably be spinning in this chair.
No, I'm not always a little dizzy, Fly Guy. You are. You're always a little dizzy. How about that? How do you like it? How does it make you feel?
Yeah, Fly Guy.
So how does SETI versus SEFI look like? Real life examples, please. Can you contrast how you and an ESFP might deal with real life example meow, Taylor?
Well, first of all, I don't normally meow unless I'm with you, really. So you normally initiate meow, and then I forget about the noise word entirely until the next time I see you.
Can you consider a given action that you would take course meow and ESFP would take instead, contrastingly, would take course meow?
I'd probably, if you mad at me right now, I'd probably just throw a rock at you.
Okay.
Kansas City.
Let me be a little bit more specific. Let's say Judy, you've got plans with Judy, but you really want to go out with Carol because she's got tickets to a great show. Mm-hmm. How do the two types deal with it differently? Same situation.
Are you asking me?
Yes, Taylor, I'm asking you.
Well, I mean, okay, but so are they equally hot?
Yeah, you made the deal to go out with, whatever her name was, Danielle first.
I make up an excuse for Judy. Okay, go now.
So, what do you think ESFP does? Same thing or different thing?
ESFP would do the same thing, but their excuse would be longer, right? They're going to try to sell it to you. ESTPs are just going to Like, I'm going to keep my explanation. I'm not going to give an explanation if I'm not asked for one. I'm going to keep my message short and not create exposure points.
That's good tactics, Taylor. Good strategy. I'm not sure which one of the two. Avoid exposure points. Rule number one in good TI defense. How about the following scenario? You and an ESFP. So somebody kind of brazenly, without looking at you or giving you any indication that he's doing it, cuts in front of you in line, in the 15 line items or less line, and just kind of like shoves his butt in there in front of you, and he's also got clearly at least 20 items in his basket. How do you and the ESFP deal with it differently?
We both deal with it about the same way. And that's hostily. Yeah, I don't know how you tell the difference in that situation.
Okay. What about if you are ESTP, ESFP, you're on Naked and Afraid of Love, the show where 16 singles, 8 women, 8 men get put on this desert island naked together, and they see if they're going to pair up or whatever. And how do the two types deal with that situation differently?
Again, I don't know that there's a whole shitload of difference, except that the ESTP probably closes the deal a little faster. The ESFP might stumble over not having FE, maybe. I don't know. Probably about the same though. Really.
Okay, if you were to ask both of those types in that setting,
You're giving me FE scenarios.
Okay, let me ask you this: if you ask both those types in that setting, what do you think is most important for me to do to win over the girl? Would they give different answers?
I mean, I think that in ESTPs, my answer would be something it'd be something short and to the point, I gotta talk to her, right? Because obviously that's the most important thing. You gotta start a conversation. I just wouldn't expand on it. I think ESFP would be more likely to give kind of a polished sort of type 3 answer, well, I gotta make myself look nice and go over there and be sweet, it'd be more of a...
I gotta show her how authentic I am is what I would expect. I'm for real. I would expect the ESP to say something like that.
They peacock more.
Okay. So if both of them end up on a date with an introverted girl who's not talking much, how do they approach that as the extrovert who's driving conversation? Do they approach it differently?
I don't think so.
Okay. If you were on a date with a girl who didn't really talk much, was really quiet, how would you handle it?
I'm still with her.
Would you just carry most of the conversation and that's okay?
Yeah. I mean, as long as I'm getting appropriate sort of response cues, sure. If she's sitting there just sort of zonked out, then that's awkward and we're not doing this.
Right. So you need a certain amount of FE cueing to feel comfortable.
Just enough to I need to have their attention, otherwise I might as well just talk to myself.
Right.
So I guess that's the level of attention or cueing that I need.
I would lead a charge on the island, and very late at night I would steal all the camera people's clothes. Then they would be naked and afraid when the dawn came, and I would be dressed in their clothes. It's a good plan, Winston's mom. They'd know who stole their clothes then. Although you could claim that you just woke up all dressed in their clothes, you don't know what happened. And it would be like paranormal. Maybe was it
Just say they're your clothes. These are my clothes. What are you talking about, dude? I brought these.
go, hey, listen, possession is 99% of the law. Female thinkers. We tend to take the lead. How do you manage a female who wants to lead? How do you manage a female who wants to lead? Do you not want to date that kind of person?
Well, if she wants to leave, let her out.
Lead, not leave.
I mean, it's illegal for you to keep her.
Not leave, lead.
Oh, okay.
How well do you take to being led?
Not well.
You're not a very good follower?
You know, no. It's pretty subconscious, though.
A relationship with a female thinker is like screwing a robot. I'm sure you meant to say it's like screwing in a robot's circuit board. Because presumably you've yet to screw any robots, although I'm not trying to put anything past you, Fly Guy. But
Fly Guy would screw a robot. He'd totally get one of those anime, life-size AI sex robots.
I'm a sex robot programmed for pleasing in 17 languages.
I wonder if they sell used ones on eBay.
That's gross. You sex bot.
I'm sure that there's a way that you can just like hose them out. Detach a head.
I don't think that they're ever going to make... We're ever going to have convincing human robots, right? Like, that feel like humans, smell like humans, soft like humans, but are actually robots. I don't think it's ever going to happen.
I don't know. I have trouble saying it won't ever happen because, like, logically, I think that it should happen, but for whatever reason, my instinct is telling me it won't ever happen. Like, they'll never be able to get rid of that creepy, not quite human vibe.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the only reason that people would want that robot, it's like, the more human you get it, the more then it's just another person, really, right? It's like, if you have to manufacture something that feels just like human skin, well, what you're basically doing is doing artificial human skin. So, it's, we already know how to make more humans. We make them by intercoursing. We intercourse, we impregnate, birth giving occurs, and that's how women's vaginas get all tore up.
It's still better than laying eggs, I bet.
Yeah. I mean, it's better probably than being hatched from an egg, because if you're hatched from an egg, you gotta fight your way through a shell just to survive. Very first. Yeah.
I mean, but even that would be way better than being like a sea turtle. Think about those shells and then they run the gauntlet.
They gotta make this mad dash for their life as every predator in the world comes down on them.
Every single one.
Yeah. Or like that great video of the iguana running across the snake place. That's a hell of a video. Boy, it's so exciting when the iguana gets away. Ryan Gosling has played a Chad, an incel, and a simp in different movies. I don't really love those terms. Like, it seems to put too much emphasis on kind of mating and power dynamics, which don't seem particularly relevant to most things. What am I? Am I a Chad, an incel, or a simp? I'm none of those things. I'm just a regular old Eric. No, I know, my duck. Boy, oh boy, that smacks of some
racism.
No, it smacks of INTP. The SITI, yeah. I used it, but I'm saying I was expressly dealing with the linguistics relationship of the negative connotations of that term, and how if you were to replace it with Varget, so I'm a simp because I respect women. Oh.
What is a sigma male?
I think it's it's just a term people came up with for neck beards.
It's like a beta who didn't want to be a beta because it's too trendy.
Well, because they're more loner, you know. Evan probably didn't hang around a long time. Evan's
release the flow state. In what way? I don't know what that means.
I think she means release you upon the population of women.
Hmm. I was going to say I get released at least once a day.
There'd be this wake of carnage.
Mm-hmm.
I've not seen 90 Day Fiancé. So I want to know what my title is. If I'm not a beta, I'm not a sigma, I'm not a Chad, I'm not a simp, I'm not a what was the third one? Incel or whatever. So what am I? Am I just category ordinary? Just regular guy? Is there that category? Older gentlemen are sigmas? I'm sigma? Woohoo! What does that mean, though, to be sigma? I'm just happily in a relationship. I'm not... I had some... Well, as Scooby says, rectual intercourse earlier this evening. It was very satisfying. Every time I have sexual intercourse, I always reflect, like, I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense as a thing, but it's always very satisfying. Because if you think about it, I frequently think this after having sexual intercourse, think, God, that makes no sense. Why do I want her to do all that stuff? You know, it doesn't make any sense, right? But in the moment, it seems like a really necessary thing to do, right?
I wasn't paying attention. I was typing to Winston's mom.
I'm just saying that sexual intercourse is very strange. When I'm done having it, I always think, like, why do I want to do those things? They don't make a lot of sense, really.
It makes perfect sense.
I mean, it doesn't, though. It's not reflective of how I feel. Like, you know,
It's not intellectually engaging.
No, I mean, it's not consistent with my worldviews. You know, I would consider myself. I would consider myself basically a feminist who believes in like equality between the partners in a relationship and stuff, but you know, I don't have that attitude exactly when I'm having sexual intercourse. You know, I'm. You might say I can be, well, directive, I guess you could say, in a way that it doesn't reflect my natural way of being. You know, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I think you see what I'm saying.
I don't, because my brain was coming in and out of what you were saying, so I think that I heard something completely that's not what you said.
Okay.
But
well, the point is, like a lot of males, I'm a little bossy during sexual intercourses, even though I don't think that's a good thing.
Use both hands.
Even though I don't think that that's appropriate in other contexts. Right? That's what I mean by it doesn't make any sense.
You're like getting a little choky.
No. I'm not getting choky. An erection renders the mind useless? Well, these types were made up by different authors, you charlatan. Which types? These.
Ike, a gay man, is here to choke the bitches. Hide your bitches, cover their necks.
Yeah, I'm more vanilla than that.
Somehow I already knew. It's because you say sexual intercourse.
Well, I think it's the best word for it because
it's certainly not. It's there's a lot of syllables. A lot of syllables.
It makes clear to everybody that you're talking about things clinically. You're not here to make body jokes or take lightly.
It is very sterile. It's a very sterile word.
You're not here to titillate. You're here to educate and inform.
It's like you're holding the concept out far away from you on with some tongs or something so it doesn't shoot.
Exactly. It's a very good metaphor.
Sexual intercourse over here.
It makes it into science, you see.
Right.
And you know how everybody loves science.
I mean, science is it's the new religion.
It's so scientific-y. That's why.
Capital S, science with a capital S is the religion. Science with the lowercase s is the process. And they are inversions of each other, basically.
Like the inversion layer that I learned about in science class.
Just like it. But which science class?
Clouds and stuff. 101, I believe it was called.
Clouds 101.
Clouds and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they should name science classes. Clouds and stuff like that. Yeah, it was science class like beakers and Bunsen burners and shit. That'd be a good class. Or mixing stuff together. Mixing stuff together would be a good name for chemistry class.
Yeah, it would.
Physics could
just together making fumes.
Physics could just be, mostly lots of math. Mostly lots of math. is a good description for physics. Allopathic speciation, first period. Did you have a class specifically devoted towards one subsection of the bullshit called evolution?
I can't tell if my duck is being sarcastic or not. Biology needs to catch up.
I mean,
the thing about science, though, I don't think that your progressive values are nearly as enduring as nature.
that's just because you hate black people.
Okay, he's kidding. It's what?
That's just because you hate black people.
What's your least favorite minority?
I don't have a least favorite one. I've been all of them.
Oh yeah, forget you're transracial.
Yeah, I gotta say I experienced the most oppression as a Swede. Interestingly, I didn't know how much anti-Swedish hate there is out there, but it's quite a bit.
There is. What'd they ever do to England?
Well, you know, they invited a bunch of Islamic refugees into Scandinavia. It was probably ill-advised, but, you know, who am I to
You know what
judge?
never made any sense was trigonometry. Like, none at all. Somehow I passed it because I memorized it, but I had no idea what I was figuring out with this shit.
Yeah, trigger what now? Like, that's the problem with it, right? What are we supposed? What are we doing here? You keep explaining how to do it, but not what it is. Yeah, I also had trouble with trigonometry. Senior year, and I was just like, fuck this. Once I got accepted to a college, I was like, okay, I'm not caring about this anymore. Yes, you have a penis, but don't put a label on me. Okay, I won't put a label on you. Penis haver. Oops, I'm sorry. Did I just put a label on you? My bad.
And now it's there permanently, penis haver. It's your new name.
Biology is riddled with ignorance from the past, huh? Well, I think most of biology's problems are linked to evolutionary biology, which continually tries to establish some speciation occurring by genetic change over time from existing genetic lines to justify the branching fossil record, even though the branching fossil record is the only piece of evidence that actually supports this notion.
And there's just no way to create consciousness from not consciousness, right? Like the first, or reproduction from no reproduction.
Well, I mean, more critically...
You've never seen a rock get up and start fucking and trying not to die.
More critically, we can see how species, just thinking for a second, as soon as they reach a certain population, no matter how significant some sort of genetic or epigenetic change within a given individual is, it's not going to be significant enough to affect the genome of the species as a whole to create speciation. Now, of course, evolutionists will say, oh, well, that's where the genetic bottlenecks and founders effects come in. But we've never seen instances of two sufficiently mutated individuals, which presumably are compatibly mutated in some fashion that's not deleterious, that moves them towards a new species, whether it be epigenetic, genetic, or otherwise. And it just doesn't make any fucking sense. Mathematically, it doesn't make any sense. Definitionally, it doesn't make any sense. If a species, every individual of every species we've ever seen has given birth to another one of its own species, and nothing but. We've had so many generations of fruit flies to look at. While they may adapt within their genome some, and vary in color a little bit and size a little bit, they never stop being fruit flies, no matter how much selective pressure we put upon them. We can't turn them into anything else. We basically have done everything in our power to falsify, and successfully have done so, the notion of genetic change over time leading to speciation, and yet people still cling to the notion without any possible explanation of it. It's weird, and it's only because of one reason only. Because of the Scopes monkey trial, because this issue of evolution was originally pitted as the alternative to creationism. That if you are opposing evolution, you must be one of those fundamentalist Christians who insist the Bible is taken literally. I don't have an alternative explanation or an app. I'm just saying evolution completely fails in its job as an affirmation claiming to explain where speciation came from. It fails to do so. It fails to meet its prima facie burden. It just has no mechanism or explanation. Anything you push on a test, it's qualified and backpedaled and undefined, and it's just a nightmare of butt fuckery is what it is.
It is. If you hadn't been raised, if you hadn't grown up with people talking about evolution like it's true, you would never suspect this is probably what happened, because it's contrary to everything else in the world.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you a little bit there, because there you get the branching fossil record, and it would seem to imply something like two species coming out of one. Okay, it seems.
I don't know enough about the fossil record and what we have to confirm or deny it, but I do know that, I mean, you can look around. The things don't build up, right? Everything degrades over time. Okay. So to have everything degrading over time, but then to have life suddenly just pop on the scene and be the...
Okay, so Tanner Owens, remember, dude, evolution takes an amount of time we can't test is not true. In other words, we're looking at a Cambrian explosion occurring over a couple of million years. Remember, there are extinction events about every 40 million years prior to 66 million years ago. And in the Cambrian explosion, we went from basically no species to basically all these species in a very short period of time. We can test all the conceptual models by simply going, okay, well, let's look at things with very fast generations, very slow generations. Let's apply selective breeding to put more pressure on it than the natural environment ever could, more selective and precisely selective pressures than the environment ever could, and produce species that aren't even viable living organisms except via people taking extra care of them. Things like, basset hounds or chihuahuas, these sort of mutant things, but can nevertheless still breed and produce reproductively viable offspring with wolves because they're still the same species. And yet we get lions and tigers, and you get ligers, and they're not the same species. We've got this really great operational definition. We can test it. We have tested it. We know by difference of generations that the total amount of time that we have to test doesn't matter that much, because we should see a scalar effect, right? So that things that have huge amount of generations we should see evolving more quickly and more dramatically into more complexity than things that have longer generations, which presumably are further along the genetic process. But we don't see that. We see the opposite of that. We falsify that.
And we should see the change, like you said earlier, we should see the change occurring at some point, right? We don't need to watch the whole process start to finish. We just need to find it in somewhere. And
what you say here is true, Tanner Owens. We can see the human genome changing slightly over thousands and thousands of years. Remembering that purportedly we went from corals to humans by this process in a few million years, okay? Having tens of thousands of years to look at, we can see how much change occurred in tens of thousands of years. We can extrapolate that amount of change, and we get nowhere near the amount of change necessary to get from corals to human beings in a few million years. Nowhere near it. There's a reason why evolutionary scientists cannot figure out any meaningful genetic clock, even though they constantly refer to things being a certain number of years distant in terms of genetics from something else. But they can't actually figure out any genetic clock. People want to disagree with me about this. They have no idea what they're even arguing. So the truth is, Tanner Owens, you assume evolution's a meaningful explanation of speciation only because you've never seriously thought about it before, and you must have jumped to the conclusion that I was therefore some sort of creationist. I am not proposing an alternate path. I'm saying if evolution is going to purport to be a theory for something, then it needs to behave as theories do. You know, make predictions that one can falsify. To the extent that it's done so, they've all falsified. They've not validated. And that's the truth. That's why the explanation kept shifting. First it was very slow change over 4 billion years. Then it was, oh shit, with all these extinction events. Okay, punctuated gradualism. Evolution goes really fast for a little while and then suddenly goes into stasis. No explanation of why that happens in the first place, why it stops, and why we don't see it anymore, but an acknowledgement that we don't see it anymore, okay? And then that was recently disproved mathematically, and you can look it up yourself and see that it's the case. And of course, they had long since abandoned any notion that the neutral or nearly neutral theories that had come to play before that were viable because of the genetic drift barrier. Now people are grasping at epigenetics to explain it, but epigenetics only to explain decay to the genomic health, which remains fundamentally the same, and it still doesn't explain how changes in genome can occur in populations beyond 100. You have the same genetic drift problem no matter what population, no matter what vector you're looking at. It's a population size math problem. It mathematically doesn't work, right? Without an extraordinary, like, impossible number of coincidental bottlenecks and mutual mutations of non nearly neutral, but it still doesn't explain increased complexity. There's no vector for it. So I'm not doing a filibuster. I'm giving you a bunch of extremely good, cogent reasons to not believe in evolution. So what do I mean by not believe in evolution? It does not mean that species don't adapt within their genome. They do. What they don't do is evolve into something else. And there are limits to what the idea of a species. The term special, it refers to the idea that there are limits to the amount of change you can do without leaving the set, right? So I can make my arms stronger by lifting weights and make my muscles bigger. I can adapt my body, my phenotype, to make it more or less meh. But I can't, by going like this a whole bunch, turn my arms into wings. No matter how much I do it, it won't work. It will not happen, because that's not within the adaptability of my special range. So too is
it. But we need to test this experiment, though. We need to rule out the wing flapping thing, because I haven't seen you really try it.
Well, that's true. I've not proved it through doing that my whole life. Maybe if you wish hard enough while you're flapping your arms, you'll get wings.
I think you got to think happy thoughts is how that works.
Oh. I can show you the world glimmering, magic, and wonderful, as Aladdin said to, what's her name? Jasmine.
Please just open your mouth. Fly guys jealous of my Nutella.
So, I want to point out something else. It's a really good argument. Not a single one of us can remember a specific instance of evolving. Like, I never remember evolving. I just remember getting bigger. You know, I don't even remember that really. I have proof of it though. In other words, I definitely had an earlier stage of development, but I never remember evolving. I never developed new powers. I never got gills. I never grew a protruding brow to highlight my evolution into Neanderthal. I never started having scales or wings. My bloodedness never started to shift from hot to cold. None of the things would indicate that I was evolving. So, I don't know. From my personal experience, therefore, evolution is bullshit. Nobody wants anyone's manhood to get mad. Okay, let's not even talk about that stuff. That's bad talking.
Bad talk.
I still want to get down to the bottom of what kind of man I am. If I'm not a Chad, I'm not a Beta, I'm not a Sigma, I'm not a Simp, I'm not a Cuck, I'm not a Incel, I'm not any of those things. What am I? Am I just regular guy? Does that category exist? I'm trying to get to the bottom of this.
Regular guy.
I mean, it's not something people normally say when talking about me. I'm not going to deny that. It's not the most common set of adjectives used to describe me.
But it's not, is it?
But on this particular vector, I think maybe I qualify. I'm pretty excited to think maybe I'm the regular one. Maybe I'm normal this time, and everybody else is weird. These are futile terms. Laments my duck dismissively. Futile. Oh, you little minds. Why play semantics games? But you could be seen as a blue pill simp, perhaps. A blue pill simp? Oh no.
What's blue pill mean again?
Means you want to be a white knight and save girls and stuff. I got a little bit about that quality of me. But I don't have any simp quality because I don't really take any shit from, well, anybody really. But including in a relationship, if somebody's not behaving appropriately in my mind, they'll hear about it. First, very nicely, but if I can't communicate or they're not listening and I'm right, then it's a problem that I can articulate, then they're going to hear about it continually and not in decreasingly nice fashion. I'm not at all a pushover, right? I've never been in any relationship where I felt like whipped, I felt whipped a little bit when I was drunk with Candace, but I was more whipped by alcohol than by Candace, Alright, Peter didn't teach you, hey, stop spreading that unhealthy nonsense. NoFap is bad. It's bad to hold your semen. Semen is not supposed to stay in your body. It's supposed to shoot from your body onto a woman's chest.
Or
face, I guess, if you're into that sort of thing.
I just want to go through all the options.
I don't know where else you'd want to put it, really. On a towel or something, maybe.
Inside her vagina.
Well, no, you don't want to get her pregnant.
No, you don't.
So unless she's on some sort of anti-pregnancy device like IUD,
like the pill?
An IUD or a birth control pill, or
I don't know how the IUDs work. That they get them in there and you don't feel them or nothing. I don't know. It just the physics of it doesn't make sense to me. The geometry.
You don't always not feel it, actually.
No, I've never felt one.
Well, Kimberly slipped, quote unquote, slipped, and
ow! What the fuck is that?
I literally every time when I get to the top, I feel this little pricky feeling, like something was stabbing me.
No, that's not okay.
And as a consequence, she had to get it taken out.
Fuck yeah, you did.
Yeah. So.
Hold on, I'm getting the needle nose pliers. This is fucked up.
But normally it should be past the cervix, so you shouldn't be able to feel it. But if it slips down, then you can get a little stabby.
I think all that stuff's probably really unhealthy for you.
Yeah. Well, Rachel and I don't use any birth control except the proverbial pull and pray method. Or
that worked for me for a long time, but then when it didn't all at once.
Well, I expect it'll work for us because I don't get the sense that Rachel's especially fertile. She's on a lot of medications or has been for a while, and
pills are bad for the womb.
I'm good about not being not taking chances, making sure I pull out in time. Kind of important.
I mean, you could just get vaxxed. That would take care of it.
I've been vaxxed. I got.
Oh, well, see, you're sterile then. Congratulations.
I got the first 2 vax shots.
Free sterility.
I'll probably get the third. Do you think that's
You're
real?
such a
I mean, I don't believe that to be the
You're
case,
sort
but I guess we'll see if there's a dramatic drop in birth rate, right? I mean, so if you're right about this, we should see a dramatic drop in birth rate.
All I know is that if you can catch like a Facebook group chat about this topic before it gets kicked off, there's a lot of women having side effects.
Okay, well,
Like as a percentage, it's but
I mean, the thing is, I'm first and foremost an SI type, which means I look to my immediate anecdotes around me. The people around me haven't complained about anything really, except for one person who I don't really trust her self-reporting very much, and that's a friend's wife who says that she lost her sense of taste and smell after getting COVID, but I don't know. I have no way of judging how accurate that is. But other than that, and that was after getting COVID, that had nothing to do with the vaccine. I've never heard anybody report any problems with the vaccine. Rachel and I've never gotten a vaccine like that before, where they stick a long needle in your arm like that. I guess it's
was it longer than normal?
I mean, I think apparently it's the same as a flu shot needle, but it's like they put it in there. They push it in there quite a ways. It's a fairly long needle, and they push it in. And in fact, the injection site is sore for a while. It takes a little while to feel better, but I didn't really experience any side effects. Rachel was kind of laid out for a day, maybe, but get your heart checked out.
I know two people who have had heart attacks, surprise heart attacks out of nowhere, like fairly recently after getting the second round, and died. Both of them died.
Well, the thing is, my deck says, notice how he says Rachel and I, so did she push you into this? Did the ISFJ seduce the HP into conforming to the Reich? No, I couldn't. The nursing home where my mom's at made a policy that I couldn't go see her. We couldn't go see her unless we were vaccinated, so we got vaccinated. I wasn't ever really worried about it. I'm aware that there are some side effects reported. Like, I read all the literature on the Moderna vax before we actually took it, and I was quite impressed with...
No, you didn't.
What's that?
If that were true, you wouldn't have took it.
No, I was impressed by the honesty of it. It starts off by saying it's unproven, and it makes a bunch of other disclaimers and stuff, which makes me trust it more, actually, because they're acknowledging all the best arguments of the people who are arguing against it, but I also trust the percentages, I don't think that these significant health impacts that may or may not correlate with the vaccine are at a high enough rate to justify me worrying about it, because I don't typically have bad responses to things like that,
Well, you still put over.
Well, I mean, it was that or don't get to see my mom anymore. So I didn't really have any choice. It's a nursing home, so it's a particularly difficult place to make the argument that I should be able to go in there unvaccinated. Whether I should be able to...
I offered you a second option.
Yeah, well, Taylor, I wasn't going to do that. And the thing is,
I
again, I don't have nearly the concerns about it that you do. I feel pretty comfortable.
Well, also just the principle. Like, fuck you guys.
I agree with you on the principle. There should be no forced vaccinations. There shouldn't be a lot of basic shit that is contingent upon you showing proof of having been vaccinated. There's a change in paradigm here that I don't like. Is not appropriate. It used to be the case that there was a vaccinate your kids before they go to school with this vaccine regimen, or else can't go to school. I was fine with that personally. You're dealing with minors, and it seemed appropriate for the state to control contagious diseases like measles, mumps, rubella.
It was less obviously inappropriate. How about that?
The thing is, now what we're talking about is people like Washington State head coach losing their job because they won't get vaccinated. That's insane. And
I mean, obviously, the response to the coup is causing way more harm than the coup itself.
I mean, I agree with you. I agree. 100%.
So you can't. I mean, like, I don't think that anybody can say that, like, Gavin Newsom, for instance, is acting in good faith and doing all these things. Like, it's just not believable at all. You have to be. Willing for things to break the line.
I think you underestimate the ability of people to believe just as strongly as you do the exact opposite with just as much conviction and legitimacy.
How could you possibly ignore the entire world around you for 2 years this hard and have everybody else around you also ignoring it the same way just as hard? It's impossible. I get it that I'm an SE dumb and I might live in the real world more than most people, but nobody's that far out of it unless they're in a vegetative state.
I mean, they've been talking about getting rid of dislikes for a long time, my duck. I don't think it's in response to that. Just because it correlates in time doesn't mean those things are causally related. The thing is, look, I agree with a lot of people's critiques of the policies because, number one, there's this reckless disregard for where the basic questions like on whom does the onus belong, or do people have the right to be sick, get sick? Is that all right or not?
I mean, even if you just look at it from a outcomes basis, no matter how you look at it, on principle or on outcomes, it doesn't work.
Right. The thing is, to the extent that you can make some sort of claims that certain policies have probably quote-unquote saved lives, such as, like, say, masks have reduced contagious virus spreading or something in places that most people wear most of the time in public. Okay, you might be able to reasonably make that claim, but even that, which is about as broad a claim as you can make, you can't really articulate any concrete numbers about any positive impacts. You can just reference this general concept of lives being saved. Whereas all of the negative impacts are concrete and can be articulated.
And it can't move past conceptually, right? You can build a conceptual model for how lives were saved through this method. But then when you look at places that masked and places that didn't, it all falls apart. So you have to keep it in the concept.
It's not for psychological mental health sake. It was to discourage dislike mobs. This was a hot issue months ago. It had nothing to do with vaccines or anything, or even longer than months ago. This has been in the works for a long time. What you're doing is called running amok.
You know what's really better than those loose cotton masks is if you could use plastic. Like if you get a plastic bag and some duct tape and mask with that until you die. Then we won't have any COVID or any emissions from humans. We can all live in meta.
Well, I want to get a shirt. I keep saying this, but I don't end up doing it ever. But I want to get a shirt that says, "These masks degrade us all." You know?
They know that. That's why they're doing it.
It's
at some point you have to acknowledge intention, Eric. You can't have like, I can't come to your house and just like hit you and hit you and hit you for days and days and days and keep telling you that I tripped and fell and my fist landed on your face, and it'd be a reasonable excuse.
There's way too many people complying with this thing for there to be any meaningful they directing things with intentionality. It's a reality. It's a phenomenon of the FE problem here, which is it's always safer and easier. There's less risk to just put on the mask because you never know whether the person you're dealing with is mask fussy or not. So you end up with this scenario in which if somebody's in a store by themselves and they don't have their mask on, and then you go in there and you don't put your mask on, and then you wait for a second to see if they put theirs on. If they do, then you put yours on because nobody wants to really have the argument. And as a consequence, in most scenarios, you end up both people wearing the mask to avoid having to deal with the FE complications.
I know, because people are lazy and they don't like conflict. Except for me. There's a few of us that like conflict still. But regardless of, I mean, yes, I agree. People are useless in conflict avoidance and would rather just comply than be bothered with that. The people initiating and perpetuating it are not just stupidly complying. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying there's a conspiracy afoot. It's the goddamn time you grew up and acknowledged it.
Well, I'm not sure what the conspiracy is trying to do. Do you?
Collapse the economy, distract people, create mental, emotional states of stress so that it's easier to crush the dollar, implement socialism, and stand up the Great Reset. It's divisive, it's oppressive, and it's distracting. The mask mandates do a whole bunch of things.
I mean, I think it's very reasonable to critique lots of individual news sources on lots of different vectors, and if you add all those things up, you can create that picture you're talking about.
I'm not talking about a news source. I'm talking about like the actual mandates and shit that we've all been dealing with for almost 2 years.
And what the point is, it's really haphazard. It really depends on where you are and everyone's attitude about it.
But it's not a subjective thing, because we can look at the results over the past year and a half and see what has and hasn't worked.
So wait, you mean people aren't being objective about public policy?
That is correct.
Shocking.
So you do agree with me?
Absolutely shocking. I cannot believe this atrocity is occurring.
You're the one who always tries to give people the benefit of the doubt in public office and go, no, well, they mean well, they're just incredibly stupid.
Right, I'm still saying that. They believe what they think, whatever it is.
You ever seen videos of them at like news conferences and stuff where the governors go to news conferences and then right before they start rolling, they're like all hanging out chatting, they got their masks off and stuff. They're not worried about it a bit. They go to their dinners and shit, they're not wearing masks. It's a class thing.
No, I mean, I agree with you that that's how it plays out, and it's one of the reasons why it's appalling. And I've said that all along. You know, it's like back when they started playing sports, right away you had, you know, health theater with the masks, right? The coach has the mask on, and then he pulls it down, yells in the face of the player, puts it back on for a second, pulls it down again, yells in the face of the next player, etc. Well, but look, guys, the point is, there aren't super good singular explanations that sum up what's going on in a nice kind of there's a party to blame that has an agenda that is destroying America. It's more that we're in a narrative flux where we don't have the right narratives in place to argue against this. Some things like mask mandates. I mean, the thing is, it's probably going to become the new norm in some places. And certainly it's going to become this new norm in some stores that really like the idea, where you got owners who are like, I really have always wanted to have less germs, So.
Fucking Google, when I had to return my, the hardware, we moved and had to return it for Google Fiber, fuck that place. There was no mandates here, where they were. There was no mandates. But they had all these signs up on the whole campus. You step out of the car in the parking lot, you're supposed to have a mask on. I was so fucking mad.
Yeah, well.
Because I walk in, so you have to return this shit, or else it was like $150 for all the equipment I had. I walk in, the dude's like, I can't return this shit unless I put a mask on. So it's like, fuck you. I hung it over 1 year. He returned it, the shit, and I walked outside the door and I just put it right on top of the fucking bush right outside the door, like, fuck you, piece of shit. And where's the biohazard disposals for these things? Google, you bitch. I know you're listening.
Taylor, don't get my live stream in trouble, please, with your.
I'm allowed to talk shit on Google.
Yeah, you are. Okay. I mean, I don't like him either, Tanner Owens. And one of the points I made with Delilah, and I actually, then I sort of disavowed it, but I since have realized it's kind of true, is we had a big argument about this, and my point is, this is one of the harms that people aren't thinking about when it comes to forcing shit on everybody, right? It's like, it creates conflict between people who love each other. Delilah's on the wrong side of the issue, in my opinion. And it makes me unhappy, So, and part of the issue is, you can isolate enough, if you're a smart arguer like Delilah is, you can isolate down enough the specific things that you point to that are most defensible. Like, basically, she's no mask Nazi, but she basically says, look, it seems pretty clear that masks are at least preventing germs and sickness and stuff. That to some extent they're going to limit the spread of a very contagious disease. It's reasonable to expect people to wear them. I agree. She'd say that it would be preferable if they weren't forced, if they were just a public health sort of encouragement thing. But that the reality is you'd never get anywhere with the matter if you didn't have it be a if you didn't have it forced for a while first. Yeah, so that she's basically making some of Tanner Owens' arguments here. I mean, Google wouldn't be able to kick flow state out of whereby. So we parsed it down, and when you're really making the justifications as to why the mask thing isn't okay, it's hard to defeat the argument that it has some sort of positive health impact on balance. Probably, at least it reduces the number of germs passed around or whatever. It's hard to defeat that argument. And then she points out, look, we're already accustomed to having society have control over or how much of our bodies we show. You can't walk around without your pants on. This is an equivalent thing, except there's more justification for masks, because at least when you're breathing, you're actually putting out something that is potentially dangerous. And it's just sort of showing more respect for each other's space and autonomy by putting out a mask or something like that. Which is, but it is a really divisive issue, because I really don't like it. And my central point is there's a total disregard and disrespect for the actual impacts we can calculate here. Like Cameron was saying to me at dinner, and he's not rebellious at all. What are you guys doing about trying to find a comfortable mask? Because I try to wear this bandana at work. He works at a school as a substitute teacher. And they say, oh, no, that's not an official mask. And they're mask Nazis about it at the school, I guess. So, and he complains about it fogging up his glasses. In other words, making his day uncomfortable. Making his ears hurt, making his days comfortable. Making him uncomfortable. Why don't they do anything? Why would that be the case that bandanas don't do anything? They didn't have any problem with his bandana going to the nursing home. Of course, once we sat down at the dinner tables, we all took off our masks. Ridiculously. There's this sense that on every level of management, so to speak, that if there's COVID and I haven't been strict about the regulations, it's going to be my ass. And I'm going to get crucified in the media. And that's what's driving everybody's policy decisions. And since everybody's got their own little fiefdom, whether you're a school principal, or whether you're a district, or whether you're a state, or county, or local government official, you've got some little fiefdom that you've got authority over. And you're going to react to this looming public relations reality. That's going to be driving their decision making, because there's a lack of narratives explaining the harms of excessive risk avoidance, a lack of convincing narratives. People are continually sold on this notion that they better be serious about this, or else if there's some sort of COVID outbreak, they're going to be mad, Fly Guy also got into a huge fight with his brother. I got in a huge fight with Delilah about it. And the thing is, she may not care about my experience, but I do. And of course there's me trying to hit a little bit below the belt too, because I'm trying to get across to her what I'm saying. I'm saying, listen, Delilah, you don't care about the experience of poor people. People who work every day have to wear these fucking masks every day, and who are uncomfortable. That cumulative amount of impact has to account for something. And then she gets upset that she knows about poor people. She hangs out with poor people. She's a poor person herself. Her friends work at service jobs. She knows all about it. But, she doesn't really weigh it into her equation. She can't articulate specifically how many lives are saved, just that somehow the environment's safer when everybody has to wear masks. But, the fact is, the total experience of people, the discomfort they experience wearing masks, depends on how much of the day they have to wear it, and the lack of sympathy from non-SI people a lot of times is, to me, in my SE fourth ways, kind of appalling, You smoked meth in a tent community under a bridge. That's poor. Or too impatient to wait till you get home to smoke the meth. One of the two. Either one of those can work as a reason. Eric, why are you smoking meth in a tent community under a bridge? I didn't want to wait till I got home. I was going to try it out. And then it seemed pretty good, so took him a couple more hits. I started talking to this guy. Okay, can you come back with the meth now? You know, it's a really dangerous part of town. We're all waiting. Oh, sorry. I'll be right there. 3 hours later. Are you still there? Or I'm talking to this dude. Oh. Hilarious. Oh, yeah. Hilarity. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Visiting the tent people is a good euphemism for acquiring meth. Where'd he go? Oh, he's visiting the tent people. Oh. Hey guys, I'm back. What's going on? You ready to party? Are you? Fly guy, don't say that. Look, you gotta remember something. I sometimes feel that as well, but I'm gonna have to say the following thing. Remember this. There but for the grace of God go I. You know? I can hardly think of anything worse. And I feel both angry at their increased intrusion into downtown and into even suburbs now. I resent that. It makes me angry, but then I also think about their situation and how awful it must be. They, I don't doubt, are often awful in their behavior. A lot of them are mentally ill. Most of them have substance abuse problems, and they don't necessarily want help, you know. And they can be kind of threatening. So I feel ya. It's a complicated issue. I just try to remember that expression, there but for the grace of God go I. I think it's a good expression to remember, like, before you start directing too much, yeah, those meows. It's like, we've all probably hit junctures in our life that looked scary. Maybe we had things to fall back on, you know? Some people don't have shit to fall back on. I'm about ready to hit the hay. I think I'll strum on the guitar for a little bit beforehand. Strumming on the old banjo. Well, you might call me a rambling man, 'cause I do a lot of thumbing and a kicking cans, but it won't do an ant's good to call me names. My daddy was a well-lit wardrobe. I wasn't born in no ghetto, just a white boy looking for a place to do my thing. I don't want no handout living, don't want any part of anything they giving. I'm proud and white and got a song to sing. Well, I said a few things and I'll admit it. If you wanna get ahead, you gotta hump and get it. Just a white boy looking for a place to do my thing. I'm gonna find me a wealthy woman in a line of work that don't take no diploma, 'cause I ain't got much to lose and lots to gain. You might call me a good time fella. I ain't black and I ain't no yellow, but I'm a white boy looking for a place to do my thing. I don't want no handout living, don't want any part of anything they giving. I'm proud and white, got a song to sing. I said a few things and I'll admit it. If you wanna get ahead, you gotta hump and get it. Just a white boy looking for a place to do my thing. Long-time boy, been around a little. I like guitar and I like the fiddle, 'cause that's the kind of soul that fan my flame. Blue-eyed Betty, feared and ready. I got to work just to be somebody. Just a white boy looking for a place to do my thing. I don't want no handout living, don't want any part of anything they giving. I'm proud and white, got a song to sing. I said a few things and I'll admit it. If you wanna get ahead, you gotta hump and get it. Just a white boy looking for a place to do my thing. I said a few things and I'll admit it. If you wanna get ahead, you gotta hump and get it. Just a white boy looking for a place to do my thing. Well, I said a few things and I'll admit it. If you wanna get ahead, you gotta hump and get it. Just a white boy looking for a place to do my thing. Ah, yes. It's called Racism's Finest Country Jamboree by some country guy. You can say the word shame, even though my name isn't Shane. And you can call me lame, talk to me with disdain, treat me as though I were vain, but don't say the Lord's name in vain. Say the Lord's name in vain. Don't say Jesus Christ unless you're praying. Don't say God damn it unless you'd like the Lord to damn a thing. Don't say God bless you unless you want God to bless you. Otherwise you're saying His name in vain. You stub your toe, don't say God damn it though, 'cause it's not clear what you'd be damning. Are you damning the thing you kicked, or your toe, or your prick? Are you damning yourself for clumsiness? And when someone says, hey there you, don't say, God, who are you? That would imply that God suggests disgust at the presence of the other, and that's not so. The moon is waxing gibbous. Her lips were as red as the inflamed buttocks of a gibbon and estrus. I sniffed, and the rank stench of baboon pheromones wafted my way. I said, delicious baboon pheromones. My favorite. Everybody loves baboon pheromones. That's what they say. Who says that? Everybody. Everybody is anybody. Every life lived reaches a time when the road splits in two. There are times, dark times, times of despair, times when it's hard to feel good. That's when I look for the sack full of solvency and that satchel of helpful goods. Satchel of helpful goods. Satchel of helpful goods. Satchel of helpful goods. Every life lived reaches a time when the road comes to an end. When I'm there, will there be anybody else around? Or will I travel all alone? That's when I look for my sack full of solvency and that satchel filled up with bone. Satchel of helpful goods. 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 That was nice. I played nicely. Here's Gregory in disguise, hands in his pockets. Now he's walking down the drive, averts his eyes. He doesn't want you guys to realize that he's Gregory in disguise, hands in his pockets. Now he's walking down the drive, averts his eyes. He doesn't want you guys to realize that he's Gregory in disguise. He hates the lies, wants to confront the men, always telling them, but every time he tries, they only run and hide. Again he is denied a chance to yell at them. Now he's Gregory in disguise, hands in his pockets. Now he's walking down the drive, averts his eyes. He doesn't want you guys to realize he's Gregory in disguise, hands in his pockets. Now he's walking down the drive, averts his eyes. He doesn't want you guys to realize that he's Gregory in disguise. He hates the lies, wants to confront the men, always telling them, but every time he tries, they only run and hide. Again he is denied the chance to yell at them, until the bridge brings a new approach. Secretly he'll try to encroach upon the guilty, then perhaps he'll have his chance to yell at them. He's Gregory in disguise, hands in his pockets. Now he's walking down the drive, averts his eyes. He doesn't want you guys to realize that he's Gregory in disguise, hands in his pockets. Now he's walking down the drive, averts his eyes. He doesn't want you guys to realize that he's Gregory in disguise. He hates the lies, wants to confront the men, always telling them, but every time he tries, they only run and hide. Again he is denied the chance to yell at them. Fucked up the end, but other than that, it's pretty good. It's a nice song to play. It feels nice to play it. Tell you what I enjoyed playing earlier. I enjoyed playing 30,000 Days. That was nice. Made me feel like the right song for the right moment. But first I'm going to play this one. I'm going to try to play kind of slow, even though it tends to push the beat for me. Santa Ana's from the east are blowing, driving on this mountain fire. So Grand Atlanta had best be going, they'd cut it down to the wire. And everywhere apocalypse hung heavy, truck was piling up with ash. Well, Anna got the dogs in the Chevy, Grand Cannon out the petty cash. If times are ending, then time is bending. Flames rain down from the sky, while the dogs knock out with Grant exhausted. Atlanta stays awake to cry. 120 up at Labor Day, and that means cooking meat outdoors. Guy got distracted and fire cat away. Now from Bradford to Arcadia they curse his name. Fire chased them west and down the incline till they reached the foothills below. Found a room cheap for the night online, at least now they had someplace to go. Tomorrow they'd evaluate their options now that their life had burned away. Her and sister has a place in Laughlin, wasn't really any more to say. If times are ending, then time is bending. Flames rain down from the sky, while the dogs knock out with Grant exhausted. Atlanta stays awake to cry, while the dogs knock out with Grant exhausted. Atlanta stays awake to cry. It's a nice song. It's well put together. I like it. 30,000 days, too many expectations, not even worth a damn. 30,000 nights, sleep off the intoxication, otherwise you won't escape the plan. I've wasted half my days trying another's ways. Who can tell me my priorities? Is there anybody knows the key? 'Cause I'm tired of doing it wrong. Want direction and have all along. Wait until they know, or is that just hesitation? Clarity's no good once your chance is gone. What I need to show is it's so below my station. I'm tired of doing it wrong. I've wasted half my days trying another's ways. Who can tell me my priorities? Is there anybody knows the key? 'Cause I think I'm doing this wrong. Yeah, I think I'm doing this wrong. Yeah, I think I'm doing this wrong. I'm becoming a much better guitar player. It's nice. Much cleaner. Sometimes. Too much noise. Too much noise in the dirty stream. Loud enough to disrupt everybody's dreams. Frustrations mean mistakes are made. Frustrations mean mistakes are made. Until it seems everybody's. I can't play it like that. This song has always been a big problem for me. I don't know exactly how to play this song. Too much noise in the data stream. Loud enough to disrupt everybody's dreams. Frustrations mean mistakes are made. Until it seems everybody's just throwing shade. I won't be another casualty of other people's well-intentioned rules. I used to think that some tomorrow, every time for yesterday, is not the sort of thing that one can borrow. No one really disciplined that day. Your uncertainty's implicit, just like an unexpected visit from a bunch of men all dressed in blue suits. I won't be another casualty of other people's well-intentioned rules. I used to think that some tomorrow, there'd be time for yesterday. I need to practice that song if we're gonna play it. My voice is all shot anyway. I got no voice left. My voice is shit and my na-na-na-na-na, hey ya, my voice is shit. This brooding here won't do any good, but brooding's more and more my style. I seek the sure ways of standing where we stood, 'cause I've been stuck here a while. That's despite a natural selfishness that makes it easy to have fun. But flutters in the gut become a fist as all my visions come undone. I tried to stream distracting in the afternoon away, but heavy new realities bear down on every day, and for a bit I am out of it. For reasons still unsaid, till I need get out of me what's inside my head. It seems like everybody's so sensitive and ready to just get mad. I seek the civil ways of living like a kid, 'cause who wants to be the dad? Have we lost our sense of soap and scale, our capacity to laugh, the sense to know when not to wail, and how to tip the golden calf? I tried to stream distractions in the afternoon away, but heavy new realities bear down on every day, and for a bit I am out of it. For reasons still unsaid, still I need to get out of me what's inside my head. And still I'm sad, so sad for me, sad for her, unhappily, and what you call sorrow, I call home. Blues that's it, clear down to the bone. Still I'm sad, so sad for me, sad for her, unhappily, and what you call sorrow, I call home. Blues that sink clear down to the bone. Down to the bone. That's right, the bone. You know which bone I'm talking about. The one in my pants. I come from a country far across the sea. All of the people are alright. That's why all the people are always calling me the international delight. Man, I may not have a satchel, but then again I might, and I'm unfailingly polite. That's why the people, they have me in their sights, say there's the international delight. With his friends pucker tart, lemon squeeze, and his friends to the beaver bee, and whimsy miracle brings a contingent too. They and all their friends will do it all for you. I'm rarely irrational, there's no reason for fright, though I am often in flight. That's why all the people, when they look up at a kite, say there's the international. May not have a satchel, though he's rarely irrational. He's internationally international delight. Something like that at the end. Alright, another one I need to practice. If you're still here watching me practice these things, I gotta say, in the process of playing these right now, I realize like some of these songs have gotten pretty clean and are definitely better, and I kind of know what I'm doing with them, and it feels good to play them and to when I do nail them, you know. And like that one, I just is starting to get a feel for it, you know. It's relatively new. It's a very cloudy day in Los Angeles, and today we run out of time. Struggles past, struggles still to come. The day is nearly done. Will someone buy us some more time? Cloudy day in Los Angeles, cloudy day in LA. I'm no sort of evangelist, but I have something to say. Life can strangely be forgiving to those who stay awake all night, and voices telling you to give in will try to stop your will to fight. But whether I'm supposed to be here or just be soon forgotten, noise is sort of based on what I see here, and also on what I avoid. It's a very cloudy day in Los Angeles, and today we run out of time. Struggles past, struggles still to come. The day is nearly done. Will someone buy us some more time? Cloudy day in Los Angeles, cloudy day in LA. I'm no sort of evangelist, but I have something to say, something to say. That was nice. That's why it's my favorite song to play. It's so comfortable to play. It feels like, hooray. It was 100,000 million years ago. Time ran slow. Nobody had to show. Place the slabs below. Let them go. They will start to grow. More years ensue. Tears gnashing through. Holy slabs come to view. Unchangingly true and eternally new. But when the slope appears in charge today, options at large show other ways. Give each a chance now, once quick to check, but don't get caught standing on deck. The slope presents a fork. It's not easy stopping short, too far along to turn around. Perhaps a better course was headed ever north. Now there's a fitter force, enemy ground. It was 100,000 million years ago. Time ran slow. Nobody had to show. Place the slabs below and let them go. They will start to grow. More years ensue. Tears gnashing through. Holy slabs come to view. Unchangingly true and eternally new. But when the slope appears in charge today, options at large show other ways. Give each a chance now, once quick to check, but don't get caught standing on deck. The slope presents a fork. It's not easy stopping short, too far along to turn around. Perhaps the better course was headed ever north. Now there's a fitter force, enemy crowd. It was 100,000 million years ago. That's pretty good, except for a little fuck up at one point. Sounds like Rachel's up 3 in the morning, getting something from the fridge. No good comes from skating on with them whom you'd mistaken for the one. Habituated, decent and hidden. No good comes from skating on with them whom you'd mistaken for the one. Habituated defense and indecency is self-inflict eventually once your search is done. Driving in the car last night, we had a nasty fight. Each insisting we were right and the other one to blame. So when you pulled that stunt, I screamed something awfully blunt. My words as wrong as they were dumb. I've earned my share of shame. It's each of our own failings, not us doing the nail to the wall. We fear so the others sailing off to reset their life and all. You can trust me, I can trust you, but neither trust ourselves much true. The love lays deep between you and me, at least about that we can both agree. Driving in the car last night, we had a massive fight. Each insisting we were right and the other one to blame. So when you pulled that stunt, I screamed something awfully blunt. My words as wrong as they were dumb. I've earned my share of shame. My share of shame. Yes, I've earned every speck of it. All the shame you can heap upon me, I've earned every bit of it. Oh, he came here with her, and what's the big problem that you can't endure? You seem so sure it's not appropriate claiming to blame things on Scott. Despite getting caught, he's got you reframing for him, straining for him, going to the gym to make yourself good enough again. Yeah, you guys both have louds invested. That's not a reason to stay around. Through the years you've both been tested. Time to move up, find higher ground. Oh, you came here with her, and what's the problem you can't endure? You seem so sure it's not appropriate claiming to blame things on Scott. Despite getting caught, he's got you reframing for him, straining for him, going to the gym to make yourself good enough again. Be done with him. That played pretty nice except for the fuck up part. Anything else I want to play? What's the matter with Chad? Is he terribly bad? Is he very like Dan, who's a terrible man? Is he sort of like Jill, who can't pay her bill? Or rather like Jack, too stuck on the facts? Matter with Sue? Will she know what to do if they bring attitude? Will she show ingenuity? She talks about you whenever we go walking. What's the deal with Brent? She's been living in sin. She's been hanging with Jim, was looking terribly thin. What's the deal with Frank? Fish from my tank, he's colluding from you. They're talking to Lou. What's wrong with the ladies? What's the matter with men? From the feelings of Katie to the coldness of Sven. They talk about you whenever they go walking. Paths that lead to lesser days, paths that lead to lesser days, still spell out the over water path. And whoever's left, it's still okay. Just tie the sails to the mast. Are you angry at Ken or at Neville again? Don't bother with Kev, he's practically dead. Just focus on Bert, he's medium hurt. What's the quandary for Liz? She failed a quiz. Matter with Drew? Will she know what to do if they bring attitude? Will she show ingenuity? She talks about you whenever we go walking. Paths that lead to lesser days, paths that lead to lesser days. Just tell out the overwatered past. And whoever's left, it's still okay. Just tie the sails to the mast. 'Cause each of us much and gravely sinned. Threw up the hands, stiffened the chin. Catastrophe looms heavy overhead again. Time's gone will never be again. That was a slow version of that song. Slow as Mobro and his blow flow. If Jesus was people but absent of sin, he must then have struggled with regular men and women, of course. When they too were present, disciples all warily eyeing the lesson. And if people were Jesus, they'd know as they think, and everyone's work would be true. The feelings once spoken would sit where they sink, and we'd all know just what to do. But people aren't Jesus once they're betrayed. The easy believing forever is lost. Maybe naivete is not to be saved, but the wise pay a terrible cost. Does virtue require a rational take, or is virtue that's reasoned and variably fake, losing itself just distract from the flow? Or is care better served by deliberate and slow? People aren't Jesus once they're betrayed. The easy believing forever is lost. Maybe naivete is not to be saved, but the wise pay a terrible cost. The one you thought you knew acts like the one you thought you knew acts like you never have met. The life you made for two shook, but being forsaken don't mean you're forsook. And though in the past you've been hung out to dry, you'll find them at last if you're willing to try. 'Cause people aren't Jesus once they're betrayed. The easy believing forever is lost. Maybe naivete is not to be saved, but the wise pay a terrible cost. But people aren't Jesus once they're betrayed. But people aren't Jesus once they're betrayed. Easy believing forever is lost. Maybe naivete is not to be saved, but the wise pay a terrible cost. Yeah, baby, naivete is not to be saved, but the wise pay a terrible cost. Hard song to sing. Kind of out of my range. Anything else I haven't played? Not really. No, I pretty much played everything. I haven't played this. Sammy has a story that need be told. This is a song for an open road, and such a thing must always do its job. She married up Chip, turned 19, 4 years in, 3 kids weaned, weary now and questioning the path. Agency outpaces discretion, lacking in our courses, way too young. The urgency converted really just depression, making sure those underneath them always run. George gets 20 at bourbon fun, likewise Doug at 21, and so forth, well up into middle age. But once that seemed to set him free became his whole identity. Now Doug about another drunken rage. Agency outpaces discretion, locking in their courses, way too young. The urgency converted really just depression. Offer you incentives, but they haven't got a thing that's fun. Everybody panic about the kids, lock 'em up with extra Dexedrine. Mathematics to produce success, or impose more unjust duress. Agency outpaces discretion, locking in our courses, way too young. The urgency convert is really just depression, making sure those underneath them always run. Without consent, it's really just depression, by parasites surviving on their wages earned by lying. Well, they feed their fear of dying. Yes, they feed upon the features of the young. Okay, that's it, I'm done. Is anybody still here? Wow, you're a trooper. Thanks, appreciate it. You are a special, special guy. Don't be non-consensual. Don't be non-consensually sensual. Or unisensual. Okay, goodbye everybody, it's late. Time for Eric to say goodnight, Bonzo. Goodnight, tree. You're a bonsai just like me. Pat Morita, come and see the bonsai I have cut for thee. Ode to Pat Morita. As bright as your unfounded wape connection, as bright as recommending some kind of vape correction, as though vaporizing things is likely more healthy than just smoking cigarettes, which it's not. No fap is bad, your prostate's mad, it doesn't want to hold that semen inside. No fap is bad, unless replaced by something rather, of course, like sexual intercourse. In this case, no fap makes perfectly good sense. Got some kind of wiener in between your thighs, thicker or leaner, doesn't matter either wise. Not good to keep inside, poisonous white goo there. You need to let it out into the air. Your prostate will thank you later, and that's important. Because if your prostate's not thanking you, it's complaining by making you pee way too often. Okay? Don't abuse your power, Peter. Don't abuse your power. Nobody likes to be the victim of power abuse. Don't abuse your power, Peter. Don't abuse your power. Everybody likes to be fair and equal. Don't abuse your power. You're making my feelings hurt bad. Use your power in respectable ways. Empathize for all of your days. Make everybody feel welcome and happy. And if somebody's being a total dick, say, hey, let's be nice. And if someone's being a prick, say, come on now, let's be nice. That's sure to solve the problem for sure. Let's be, hey, guys, hey, let's be nice. Come on. Are we not being nice? Come on. Let's be nice. My Venus is waxing in Uranus, but it's waning in Jupiter. My Venus is waxing in Uranus, but waning in Jupiter. It's a perfectly cogent sentence. Okay. As indicated, it's about to be bedtime for Bonzo. If you're gonna land on the moon, you better bring some air with you. I don't know if you're aware of this, but there is not any air there on the moon. Well, you just gotta imagine little Eric saying, This program is not appropriate for little boys. Whoever's saying wape is saying it in the equivalent fashion. I would say you should only be yourself if it's appropriate contextually. Like, I don't necessarily want to be myself at work, right? I want to be more professional than that. A little bit less. A little bit less. Mia and my mia. One way to put it, of course. That would be clear, at least. Everybody would know exactly what I'm saying. I'm out of cigarettes. That's part of the problem here. I think I should go get cigarettes and come back and go to bed. Don't take the Lord's name or anybody else's name in vain, either. Any vain taking of names should not be allowed. If you say Eric, you should necessarily be addressing me. Otherwise, you're taking my name in vain. Don't take my name in vain. Smoke it, okay? I don't recommend taking my name intravenously. You can smoke it. That's the point, right? Don't avoid needles. If you're gonna take my name, take it by smoking it, not taking it in vain. That's, you don't want to get a needles habit, believe me. And my name is a powerful, potent, multi-hallucinogen. You're never here from the beginning? Oh, because you drink too much? Well, yeah, you should quit drinking. It's bad for you. Not to mention, you want to talk about a bad come down. That alcohol's got like the worst of them all, with its hangovers and everything. It's like hangover, more like I feel like shit over. Okay. A ridiculous ass question. I think that needs to be hyphenated. Can we all agree that needs to be hyphenated? Ridiculous ass? I think it does. Alright, good night everybody. Sleep tight. Don't let the bread bugs bite, okay? Bed bugs are fine, but no bread bugs.